talk about the House of Lords last night, which voted to bring in a ban for under-16s on social media. This is an amendment to a bill that's going through Parliament. It would need to go through the House of Commons. The government has got a review, a consultation on all of this, which will take 3 months. We're joined by Paddy Crump in the studio, who is from FlipGen, which is an organisation that I think supports young people to have a healthier relationship with the digital world. What is your view on a ban for the under-16s on social media?
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I think, first of all, I have utmost respect for everybody on both sides of the debate. But my view and our view at FlipGen is that blanket bans for under-16s on social media isn't the right way to go. You know, we're for a change in the status quo. The status quo isn't working. The young people are getting harmed all the time online. But we don't believe that a blunt response like the blanket ban is the way forward.
So what would be something you would like to see instead of that, given you do want to see something done? Yeah,
I think safety by design is the key thing. It means everybody is safer online, over 16s, under 16s, anybody who's going online. I think that it's questionable whether under 16s will actually not go online if a ban comes in. So safety by design is the only way to ensure that everybody's safer.
Laura, the government is running this consultation. What's your view on whether there should be a ban?
Personally, I think it is a good option, and I'm glad that it's on the table, as it were, in the consultation that the government's running. But it's a really broad consultation, and I think FlipGen are right in saying that there are lots of different ways of tackling this, and we need to be really sure that we're taking the right way forward. So there are some measures in there that we will take immediately. We're asking Ofsted to inspect schools more closely to make sure that that smartphones aren't visible in the classroom or in schools at all during school hours. And we're moving straight ahead with this guidance, putting guidance in place for screen time for under 5s. There are really worrying developments with that young age group in terms of the amount of screen time. So we'll take those measures, and then there's lots more that we're looking at over the next few months in the consultation, including the ban on social media for under 16s, potentially, including looking at whether we need to raise the age of digital consent up to 16, including looking at some of these features that make social media apps so addictive, looking at the algorithms, looking at some of that functionality and seeing if that needs to change. So we will take it in the round. We'll make sure, I think, that we do it in close consultation with young people, with the many brilliant campaign organisations that are out there.
OK. James, you're in the House of Lords.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Well, Paddy is right that the gold standard is safety by design. Yeah. And I voted for that. And I worked really hard on the Online Safety Act. But it hasn't worked. Those companies are not working in partnership with government, with parents, with children. In fact, they are targeting their algorithms. They're allowing the filth and the predators to target our children. The sheer screen time that our children are spending is hitting their cognitive ability and also their mental health. It really is getting worse, and the tsunami of AI heading at our children is going to make things even worse. So last night I did vote for preventing social media from being in the hands of under 16-year-olds, because we need a reboot. That relationship with the tech companies has got to be on a more mature, collaborative and partnership basis. And if they can't do that, then they shouldn't be allowed near our children. And Paddy's right. There will be nice things that children would like that will be taken away from them. But right now, the harms are just too great. So that's why I support the ban.
What do you say to that?
I think I agree with the majority of what you said. I think we both want the same thing. And everybody campaigning wants the same thing. But I see a ban as just moving the harm. Young people will still be accessing these places online. In Australia, the ban covers 10 of the main platforms, but young people can use other platforms, online gaming, online forums that aren't covered. And I just think that the ban just kind of moves that harm to these places. And if we're going to ban social media and ban this way of communicating, then I think the lack of third spaces for young people needs to be addressed as well, because it's very well taking away the main form of communication for young people. But actually, what are we giving young people back to be able to go and still have that socialising with their peers that has kind of gone in the last 20 years?
Ava?
I would suggest a more radical approach to social media companies. I think, at the moment, sites like X, sites like Facebook, they're described as tech companies. That's how they trade with the United Kingdom. That's how they pay tax in the United Kingdom. when actually they should be defined as publishers and they should be responsible for what is published on their social media sites, on their site. So, for example, let's just pick an institution like The Times. The Times has to be very careful about what it publishes because it's responsible for any harm that it might publish. It can't turn around tomorrow and portray 5 young men doing Nazi salutes. And that's what we saw for the past week on sites such as X and Facebook. Wall-to-wall coverage of 5 young men doing a Nazi salute. Why on earth is that legal in the United Kingdom? And it's legal because they're a tech company rather than a publisher.
And the rules that apply to the real world should apply in the digital world. It seems extraordinary to me that you can get away. I don't want to list all the horrific things that happen on X, but why do they get away with that? If you and me tried to do that on the streets of London, we'd be arrested.
Absolutely.
This is the reset that we need, and Paddy makes his point very well, but we do need a brutal reset, and that's what the purpose of this amendment is.
So the Online Safety Act, which you've mentioned, is that it's already out of date? Is that what you're saying?
Listen, it's always difficult for legislation to keep up with changing technology, and yes, it is a bit out of date. But I think it is misconceived because it depends on honest collaboration with an industry that is optimised for profit and has algorithms that are designed to target children's attention and to escalate the controversial nature of the content.
So if those companies won't play ball, what do you do?
Well, then
you must tax them, you must punish them fiscally, you must punish them financially, because these companies are making money out of children's attention and out of children's distress. So a child will be viewing this harmful content, such as the Nazi salutes, and who makes money? X or Facebook. But the Exchequer over here in the United Kingdom, I mean, they receive about 2% in terms of tax every single year. So it's just totally outweighed at the moment. I'd say just fiscal punishment.
Lisa Nandy was sitting where you were sitting yesterday, the Culture Secretary. She didn't really sound that keen on a ban. Do you think the government is maybe not going to go down that road? The Conservatives have obviously said that they do want a ban.
Yeah, I think there are different views, and it's good that we're having a debate about it. I also think it's not necessarily either or. I think a ban is really important because it sets a tone and it sets an expectation, and it does that job, I think, of just helping us shift societal norms towards where I think we all agree they need to be, which is making these online harms unacceptable. But I think you can also take other action with technology companies. You can look at some of these addictive design features. You can look at how they're funded and what they can and can't do. I think we may see a whole range of measures, and I think we'll just work through those at the moment.
But what would you do for the pupils who are in year 10 or 11? I'm sorry, I don't know the exact year. Say where one half of the year group has turned 16 and they're all on social media, and then you've got the other half of the year group who aren't on it. What would you do?
I think this cliff edge argument...
I would say alcohol was less harmful than social media in its current state.
But the cliff edge argument is a little bit of a distraction. There are all sorts of cliff edges in life of one kind or another. Suddenly half of them will be driving cars as well.
But you don't get bullied for not driving, do you?
The real issue is, at the moment, kids who are 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, those are the ones where their brains haven't fully developed, where their sexuality hasn't developed, where they're vulnerable. Those are the people who we really do need to protect. I think a question that is asked is, if we feel this way about children of 16, are we really going to give them the vote? Because what this puts a spotlight on is how delicate the child mind is and how little they want to be involved in this adult world.
And we're agreeing a lot today.
Paddy, in terms of young people getting round the rules, because that's what we're hearing about, aren't we, with Australia? And, we know, I mean, you mentioned alcohol. Well, we know what happens, they get round the rules, don't they? So is that something that you think would happen if there was a ban?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think that if it's just taken away overnight, then young people are tech-savvy. We've grown up in a world where, I had social media since 11, like before I should have had it. And, I think people forget how clever young people are at getting around these things, VPNs, and also the fact that overnight new social media can develop and new platforms can kind of become established, and young people can move on to them. And I don't think, people will continue to speak, young people continue to go to school, and they'll find other ways to talk. I think in Australia, WhatsApp isn't in that in the ban, but WhatsApp now has stories and some of the features that we see with Instagram and Snapchat. And I just see that the harms that are happening on Instagram and some of these other apps will just move to those ones that aren't regulated.
And what about the other thing that young people say is that they use it, some people are using it and not seeing some of this content, they're using it to communicate with each other. They don't pick up the phone to each other. It's all done through these sites, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that part of the debate is there is that benefit of the connection. I have OCD and I went through a really tough time, and I've learned so much more about myself from social media than I have through reading a website or reading a book. And that allowed me to become more confident and empowered, because I realised it wasn't just me. It's not just me having these thoughts. And similarly, I've got a friend who's got long COVID, and it's like a lifeline for her because she can't leave the house a lot of days, and it's the only way she can interact with the outside world. So I think it's really important that if this ban comes in, that we look at how young people can stay connected and build up other avenues for young people to communicate.
James, you've been in Parliament quite a long time. Is your hunch that this is going to come in as a ban? I mean, there are lots of Labour MPs, dozens of Labour MPs who've already said that they back a ban.
Yeah, 60 wrote into the Secretary of State. One thing to note is how popular it is in Australia. So what has happened in Australia is not that all of the young people have moved on to different platforms. I take what Paddy said and that connection that people have. But I don't think young people want to spend 6-7 hours scrolling on social media. For a lot of them, and I'm referring here to the insight from More in Common and from the Children's Commissioner, they deeply resent what social media has done to their collective. And this collective pressure to be constantly performing and connected is something that they'd rather not have. So I think that penny is dropping with the government, and this could be very, very popular. It's become already a doorstep issue that, and Laura, I'd be interested in your views, that mums and dads are raising with politicians. Is the government really going to go into the next election being the ones that said we don't do the ban? Is the next time a young child dies, is the government really going to be saying we've got nothing to do with it and we're washing our hands of this issue? That's going to be a very difficult position to defend.
There was a poll this week, I think, suggesting that something like 60% of 16 to 24-year-olds are supportive of a ban,
Right.
many of them having been on social media and experienced the harms firsthand. They're calling for it. Parents are certainly on my case calling for it, rightly so. The schools want help with it. It feels like... I mean, it feels like, regardless of where you live in the country and how old you are and what your background is, it's something where people are looking to the government for help and for guidance.
There's real momentum, I think, to answer your question.
OK. Paddy, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us about your experience and about what you feel about this. And we'll get you back when we have some kind of resolution to all of this. Thank you.